Deport African Americans. The revolution in Africa and the coup d'etat are really reflecting in Obama and African American police activity in the United States. Africa is ready for the African Americans. The Chinese did infrastructure projects for them, and Russia is supporting them, especially in the Sahel, especially Burkina Faso. Africa is ready, and they are calling them back too. Africa is inviting the diaspora back, and the Sahel has the Confederal Bank and more schools, university, energy, military, agriculture, housing. The responsibility, they are handling it. President Traore came to the United States. If they go back to Africa, maybe Dr. Arikana, President Traore can train them. Their culture will add integrity and courage. When African Americans terminated me at the city of Delray Beach, I had a good 5 year written evaluation, and they could not do my job even 8 years later. People came down and told me, but that was my fourth government job, but my first government job fell off my resume. Well, the first two, and there were other countries. What African Americans are permitted to do by the Republican so-called permission structure, including O.J. Simpson's case. Here's Dick Cheney mentioning that there is a permission structure which allows his daughter to come in and work with the Senate and House and Congress. So Trump is headed in the correct direction because although he fought with so many countries with the tariffs, he did make friends with Japan, and Japan has the Toyota Ponyo robots. And Florida Atlantic University has the AI sandbox. They have a dog robot and an administrative robot. President Obama is not every African American. The responsibility to assume power and have a coup d'etat. Even the people, the poorest African Americans, they have the Obama free phones, and that's what they've been using to stop me, particularly. But I had African American state trooper in his uniform and with his car doing things with off the computer, and the other state trooper told me it was off the computer because he checked my driver's license. So Monday, December 30, 2024, a state trooper was parked by the Paradise Bank. So I went over to him and said, the FBI said somebody is investigating me. And so I handed him my driver's license. He said, no prior calls. That indicates that the violation of my Fourth Amendment rights and the pictures of damage they did to my house and my car sent to the FBI, it indicates a coup d'etat and also doing things off the computer. So these are robot police, and they will reduce conflict, reduce fatigue, reduce errors, reduce fighting, reduce population, reduce cost, reduce trouble, reduce African American gangs. This is also a garbage robot. So these abuses of the computer indicate that there was a coup d'etat when Obama was president, because I was actually in government and they pushed me out as part of their takeover. They couldn't even do my work. So I made up a list of reasons why African Americans should be deported. And historically, Africans are cursed, as Canaan and his son Ham were cursed because they laughed about nakedness. And the Nilotic unrestrained ritual culture of Kenya, Congo, Egypt, Ethiopia, Uganda, and South Sudan. Nilotic unrestrained ritual misogyny, where they degrade and devalue women. Nilotic unrestrained ritual robbery, repeat robberies at the place where I used to work in Winfield Plaza. President Obama free phone, nigger prey, conquest, bragging, gang stalking, bullying is something I experienced. I was stalked this morning But when I went all the way to the north of the county, I was also stalked. So that's why I give it the acronym OFNA, which is Obama Free Phone, Nigger Prey Conquest, Bragging, Gang Stalking, Bullying. And being only 13.7% of the population of the USA, they are able to spread their ridicule or their little things they say about you and gossip about you. They're thuggish, loud, bullying, savage in conduct and communication. They have low IQ, thinking the more discussion and bullying, they will be accepted. They have innate betrayal symptoms in Africa and the USA. For instance, President Sankara was killed by his friend, and then his friend became president in Burkina Faso in 1987. They practice the art of degrading women in word and music. Even Kanye West was degrading his wife, having her have oral sex out in public. Coup d'etat bragging, we are the government, we are replacing you. I experienced that on the phone with police talking to me and in face to face. They cut off free phone services from time to time. African Americans do not like itself and Africans do not like themselves. That's why they become puppets in Africa, taking $5 million to kill a president, and that's why they betray each other. And that's why Africa is still backwards, they're not decolonized. And also here in the United States, any of the African Americans who have money from sports or music, they'll try to marry whites or like the Kardashians, they pay them child support to have lighter skinned children. It's impossible. It's very hard to unite Africa. I'm trying to help Africa unite right now. I told them 3 to 10 words of comprehension is progress. And they have some key players who are very well educated. We're trying to work with them to unite Africa. China is preparing an infrastructure by replacing IMF, and also African projects are using new African banks. Robots do their work better. African American police gangs, sheriff, and state violated my human rights off the computer. African Americans are pushing others out of banks and stealing money from accounts and closing accounts, which happened to me at, I think, Financial Credit Union. And Nigerians are opening credit cards in American names. Finally, trying what Thomas Isidore Noel Sankara was assassinated in 1987. President Traore and Dr. Arikana Shirambori Kwa are trying to change the colonized mind and also for Africa to take care of itself, but it's very difficult. Sex and money are more important than human rights or safety of women and children. When they bullied me out of my job at the city of Delray Beach, up to 8 years later, the residents said that nobody could do my job, which I report to the CIA. African Americans are stalkers, stalk and rob, and they want to use me. I have one stalking me this morning, but he has no education, no money. But they run me into the ground and then they try to get another African American to use me. It's a horrible cycle. It's not my fault that the African American police had this kind of coup where they want to run other people in the ground, run them out of their jobs. I try to defend myself and explain myself using YouTube. They're violating human rights and civil rights. From Broward to North Palm Beach, I found I was hurt in Broward County, and they almost framed me with grand theft auto, but I didn't fall for it. They're bragging about the domination or degrading of another person. Their value system is based on deception and barbaric taste level. African Americans hate Caribbean islanders because Cambridge University manage our high school and we have different value systems. African Americans, though, will rob and use people from the Caribbean. They are permitted by whites to execute the Holocaust like paradigm on Caribbean islanders and their own African presidents. So the stalker Saturday, March 15, 2025 woke me up at 6:28. That is local community stalkers with Obama free phones. The stalker Tuesday, March 18, 2025 taunting me at 10:30 a.m. Africans lost all good characteristics as slaves of white Americans. and then being bullied by white Americans in the rat race. So what's happening in Africa now? Uh, the key players like President Traore and Dr. Arikana Shiomborg are inviting African Americans back to Africa. So Africans' value system is based on betrayal, and Africans are really savage, and they have this paradigm. I think that it unchecked, it will take control of all USA. Well, right now, I've been reporting to the CIA. I noticed there's a little bit of a takeover or a coup right under Donald Trump's nose. Donald Trump is in Mar-a-Lago, which is in Palm Beach County, and the state and the city, they are bragging about African Americans taking over the city and the funds in the state. So 5:30 Thursday, February 2020, February 2025, I had to take a picture of the stalker because she's very abusive. She yelled and stalked and lied. So I guess it's kind of like being in a war zone at this time. Me being run into the ground, pushed out of my job with the city of Delray Beach, which I just touched base with the CIA. I'm giving some confidence to the CIA that they will use AI, cumulative and comparative data to improve the government system and the police system in the United States. So this is the girl who bullied me out of the city of Delray Beach. This is her. She has three children with this man, and then her husband is a state registered sex offender. But she came in and started bullying me, and I was there 5 years trained by attorneys, and also her husband has sex with children, and then they have also a lot of gay clubs in Delray Beach. Yeah, this is a picture from Delray Beach publication. So Africa this is Dr. Arikana, who was explaining the problem with Africa is that they were selling out as puppets to the imperialists. So the value system is a lot of bullying, abuse, sex, music, sports, and misogyny. The future generations have no decency, and they will be lost. They will be killers. The value system, they have misogyny being exhibited. For instance, Rihanna is a very public figure. She's a very successful, rich musician. And Chris Brown did the facial mutilation on her, and it's a similar facial mutilation on O.J. Simpson's wife. And if you ask African Americans, they say drugs was involved. But what's happening is that the police entered my property. They did not put drugs in there. They damaged the kitchen, and I sent a picture to the FBI. So she was killed by a stab to the body, but the facial mutilation is just a symbol of destroying your identity, degrading and devaluing a woman. So the culture of Africa allowed them in 1994 to have the Rwanda genocide, where 1 million people were killed in 100 days, which is worse than the Holocaust. And you can see here that the people who perpetrated the murder of 1 million people in 100 days, the French military was running along with them to go and do this horrible thing. Did the world know? This is how some people survive with the machete cuts in their faces and things. If the Africans cannot stop themselves and change their value systems, the African Americans in the United States who the police are in police gangs and they practice misogyny and stalking and robbing and all that. We've got to change it because our children will be killers. I'm at FAU today. I'm concerned about these children. These children being trained in AI and different degrees. Their value system needs to be better. So that's what Professor Lumumba, who went to University of Belgium, said. We have to have hygiene. We have to clean up the culture. So the art of subjugating and devaluing women and children can be seen with the Jehovah's Witnesses put the children into construction. My son was taken out of his gifted program and also degraded by his father. And this is Kanye West, a popular public figure, degrading his wife and subjugating her by having her have oral sex with him out in public. It's so horrible. They're now divorced and he stopped doing it. But also here's Lamar Odom was also insulting Chloe in a verbal manner for the media. The African Americans, it was reported that the African Americans coming from the military that became police are doing a kind of bioterrorism where they put worms in your bed. So the worms crawl up into your vagina, and that's a cervix with the worm and the worm eggs on her. This is how it looks, but a worm, a worm mastitis becomes cancer, and this is cancer which is being operated on. So it's a very serious. It's worse than my tragedy and abuse against women. It's really a death sentence. So how evil is that? Can the International Criminal Court punish them for this? Mike's husband did something which showed he was unstable. He was exhibiting something. My little tyke tested gifted at 6 years old in Hagen Ranch Elementary School, but Mike's husband was showing that something was wrong because this boy was born in Miami. Father moves up to Delray. Then he moves to Boynton to a house, and my son is over there and goes in that school, and that's where he's tested gifted. Then he was killed in Boca. So we see all the moving around shows something erratic, something disturbing, something not right. It's not good for keeping a little tyke stable, and he should have been sent to Jamaica. So this is women being degraded by African Americans in the American culture. You can see the hoochie mamas. On Saturday, March 15, 2025 at 6:20, a stalker woke me up and I warned him not to stalk me. So the International Criminal Court and United Nations Human Rights Office should have a verdict of US 50 billion to 100 billion because of all these elements. It's for both sides, just not just the African Americans. So I have little questions, and I've done this video. And like I said, I now contacted the CIA. So I think that I put enough data on the internet for the CIA for them to work with. They'll have a visual of something because I think they're highly skilled and highly educated people in the CIA. So I experienced this horrible treatment, push out of government, run into the ground. They fool me. They brag about it. They treat me like prey, stalking, robbing, and it's been horrible. So I'm collecting the data. I think they do not like us because we came as students and they came as slaves. The African Americans are exhibiting some of the culture of Africa, and we can see the culture of Africa from the interaction that those people were having in response to US aid being cut by Donald Trump. So the African American who stalked me this morning, it keeps recurring. And my dad was a Cuban fighter, and I identify as a Cuban fighter during this conflict. So the value systems of India and the robots are better for society. We have over 200 Indian students here at FAU, and our largest building is the AI engineering building. So we hope this will improve the outcomes for the United States of America. Thank you.